Okay, so again, try to repeat it over and over again until you master it and you can pronounce it, comfortably. Now, before we move on, let's learn two useful expressions. I think learning expression is very important in your language learning, whatever language you are learning, because useful expression is something that you actually can use right away. So you can already say, you can just say it to anyone really when you just want to practice your language. We will learn two useful expressions. Number one is hello. It's quite similar. It's hello. Hello. Okay, hello. Hello. So the natural way of saying it would be hello. And then we have good morning. It is selamat pagi. Selamat selamat pagi. Pagi. Selamat pagi. So the natural speed would be selamat pagi. The slow speed would be selamat pagi. Okay, so again, try to practice it, as often as you can, so you can master it, as I mentioned multiple times by now. Now, after you have learned a little bit about grammar and you have learned a little bit about vocabulary in Bahasa, it is time for us to create some sample sentences so that you know more and you can create your first sentence in Bahasa. So these are 4 sample sentences that you will learn today. Number one is hello, selamat pagi. That's the natural speed, and the slow speed would be hello, selamat pagi. Okay, I hope you already know what this phrase means. Hello is hello, of course, and selamat pagi is good morning. So hello, selamat pagi is hello, good morning. Okay, and then number 2 you have saya pergi. Saya is I and pergi is go. So saya pergi is I go. And I will tell you a good news here. So the good news here, at this point, you do not really need to conjugate the verb. Unlike English, when you say she goes and then you say I go, you need to change the verb. You need to conjugate the verb go into goes if you change the subject from I to she or he or it, right? But fortunately in Bahasa, you do not need that. You just simply use the same verb for any subject pronoun. So for example, again, if you want to say I go, it is saya pergi. If you want to say she goes, it is dia pergi. You go, it is kamu pergi. They go, it is mereka pergi, and so on and so forth. So basically it stays the same. Number 3 is mereka makan. Mereka is they, and then we have makan here, which is eat, and then mereka makan is they eat. The same again, if you want to say she eats, you can just say dia makan, and so on. And the last one is dia minum. Dia is she or he. Of course, when you just say dia, you do not know the gender of the person, so you do not know whether it is a she or it is a he, right? So it will need further elaboration and it will need the context. I think the context will make it clear. But at this point, dia minum can both mean she drinks or he drinks. Okay? But again, if you want to change it into I drink, you can just say saya minum. So very simple. And by just knowing this simple rule, you can now already make many sentences and practice your Bahasa, right? So if you have understood that, now let's test yourself. How do you say we go in Bahasa? I will give you some time. We is kami and go is pergi. So we go is kami pergi. And then you drink. And what about she eats? Okay, so if you know the answer of those 2 questions, go write down your answer to the comment sections, and we will check and we will also correct if you are making a mistake. And it's fine to make a mistake. I made a lot of mistake when I learned English for the very first time, and I think now I'm still making mistake. And It's fine, really, right? So don't get discouraged if you still don't understand this lesson. Try to watch it over and over again if you are watching this on YouTube, or try to listen to it over and over again if you are listening to this through podcast. Okay, so that's it, the lesson for today. You can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa and join our community on facebook.com/Bahasa Little Project. You can also find our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. And you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents. And by exclusive contents, I mean you will be able to receive PDFs, books on more vocabulary of Bahasa, more sample sentences, more conversation, and also you will join our exclusive Telegram group in which you will be meeting your tutor there. I think you will be meeting me there. And then you can practice your Bahasa and you can ask whatever question. So that's it for this lesson, and I will see you again in level 1 lesson 2. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome back to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 2. Last time we have learned about basic grammar, especially about subject pronouns, and also some basic verbs. And this time we will continue that lesson, and we will learn some more and create longer and more complex sentences. By the way, my name is Alit and I'm your tutor for this Bahasa lessons, and let's get started. Okay, we will start our lesson today by the grammar first. We will learn adverb of time. How to say yesterday, how to say today, and how to say tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with yesterday. How do you say yesterday? It is kemarin. Okay, again, repeat after me so that you can pronounce the word correctly. Kemarin. Natural speed, kemarin. Kemarin. Okay, that's yesterday. Now today. Today is hari ini. Hari basically means day, and ini is this. So hari ini is actually day this, or today, this day, right? So again, today is hari ini. Hari ini. Okay, hari ini. And then we have tomorrow, which is besok. 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 Okay, tomorrow, besok. Yesterday, kemarin, and today, hari ini. So try to repeat it over and over again until you are feeling comfortable saying it and you understand all of it. And if you already do that, and let's now answer this very important question. I think a lot of people are asking this question: do we have tenses in Bahasa? The short answer is no, we don't have it. But the long and complicated answer would be maybe, but not at the basic level. So at this point, you do not need to worry about it. So basically, you want to think at this point again that we don't have tenses in Bahasa. Of course, we will discuss it in more detail in the future, so don't worry about it, okay? So as I mentioned previously, for now, just try to memorize what yesterday, today, and tomorrow are in Bahasa. Okay, now try to answer my question. I will say the English and you answer with the Bahasa without looking or watching your video if you are learning through YouTube right now. Okay, how do you say yesterday? 1, 2, 3. Kemarin, right? How do you say today? Hari ini. How do you say tomorrow? 1, 2, 3. Besok. Okay, good job. If you already mastered that, now we are ready to go on and continue with some vocabulary. So these are the words that we will learn. Quite a few actually. We will learn more verbs this time. So the first is cook or memasak in Bahasa. Memasak. Memasak. Okay, cook is memasak. Study is belajar. 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 Okay, so cook, memasak, study, belajar. And then we have watch, menonton. 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 Okay, again cook, memasak, study, belajar, watch, menonton. And then we have listen, which is quite long, mendengarkan. Mendeng. You can hear the nasal sound there. Deng, kind of sound like French. Mendengarkan. Mendengarkan. And then we have write, which is menulis. Menulis. And then we have talk or berbicara. 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 And then we have see, which is melihat. Melihat. Bring, which is membawa. 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 Okay, so try to make sure to repeat it over and over again until again you are comfortable saying the word, and try to quiz yourself and test yourself. You can, which is you are meeting your friend, your new friend. In Indonesian, you can say apa kabar. Apa actually means what, and kabar means news. So what news? What news do you bring? Or in this case, it means using the grammar and also the verbs and the expression that we have learned just now. So we will learn at this point, we will learn 3 sample sentences. Number 1 is kemarin saya memasak. Kemarin, do you still remember how do you say kemarin? Kemarin is yesterday, right? So that's how you say yesterday in Bahasa. It's kemarin. Kemarin. Okay? Saya is, of course, you already know this. You all learned this from your first lesson, which is I, right? Memasak is cook. Alright? So, kemarin saya memasak, in English it means yesterday I cooked. You see here now again, as I mentioned previously, at the basic level, we don't have tenses in English. So, the same thing. So, if you want to say let's say I cook every day, it would be just saya masak setiap hari. You do not know what setiap hari means, but basically if you want to know, it means every day. So saya memasak stay the same, no changes, no conjugation, no nothing. So you just change the adverb of time. So kemarin saya masak mean yesterday I cook. Of course in English you need to put extra ed after the word cook, right? But in Indonesian, you do not conjugate the word or the verb at all. So it stays the same. Kemarin saya masak, yesterday I cook, and tomorrow I will cook. You will need to put some word, which translate into will, and that is something that we will learn soon. But for now, make sure you understand what kemarin saya memasak means. Okay, so kemarin, yesterday, saya masak, I cook. And again, to re-emphasize it, we don't have tenses at the basic level. So, saya memasak stay the same whether it is in past, in the present, in the future. There are some changes. Number 2 is hari ini mereka makan. Hari ini is today, of course, right? Hari ini, and mereka is day, and makan is eat. So, today they eat. Hari ini mereka makan. That's the natural speed. The slow speed would be hari ini mereka makan. Okay. Number 3 is dia akan menonton besok. Dia, you already notice it means she or he, right? So dia, she or he, akan. Nah, this is something that I talked about just now. This is how you say will. Okay, this is how you say will in Bahasa. We will of course cover this in more detail, but for now just try to memorize that will is akan in Bahasa. Will is akan. Akan. So akan. So she will, dia akan. I will, saya akan. They will, mereka akan. You will, kamu akan. Okay, so dia akan menonton. She or he will watch, right? Menonton means watch. What is besok? Besok is tomorrow. So dia akan menonton besok mean he or she will watch tomorrow. Yeah, so of course by knowing these sample sentences, now you can create your own sentences and you can practice combining the words that you already learned, and also by using and following the rules of grammar that you have learned. So now it's time for us to test yourself. So how do you say yesterday she wrote? Yesterday is, of course, it is kemarin, right? And she is dia, he also dia, and wrote is menulis. Of course, I hope you remember that you do not need to conjugate the verb into past tense or into future tense. The verbs stay the same. So yesterday she wrote, kemarin dia menulis, blah blah blah. Okay, so for number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself based upon what you have learned, and try to write down the answer in the comment section if you are watching this on YouTube. So if you have mistakes, we will be able to see it and we will be able to correct it. And also if you have any questions about Bahasa, feel free to ask in the comments below, or you can email us also to bahasalittleproject@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group. You can find our podcast on Spotify. I hope it is already now on Google Podcasts. And also you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and to join our exclusive Telegram group, in which you would be able to ask me and practice with me if you have any questions. So thank you for learning with us. So that is your level 1 lesson 2. I hope you have learned something, and see you next time. We will learn much more at level 1 lesson 3. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 3. So far you have learned some Indonesian, of course, from the previous level 1 lesson 1 and level 1 lesson 2. I hope that you have practiced your Bahasa and have used it in your daily life, so that you are getting more and more comfortable using your new language. Okay, so for this lesson we will learn some more grammar and we will learn some more vocabulary to keep improving the level of your Bahasa, and also to keep making your sentences longer and also more complicated. If you are ready, let's get started. Number 1, we will learn about adverb of place. Last time in the level 1 lesson 2 we learned about adverb of time, right? And this time we will learn about adverb of place. Number 1 is how to say at. In Bahasa it is di. It is also as simple as at, I think, right? So in English it is at, and then in Bahasa it is di. Di. Okay, and then number 2 is in. It is kind of longer in Bahasa. It is di dalam, but it has the same first word, which is di. So in is di dalam, okay? And on, what about on? On is di atas, okay? So again, at is di, in is di dalam, and on is di atas. Okay, so those are the adverb of place that we will learn today in this lesson. And we will also learn useful expression. I think again this expression will be very useful for you in your daily usage of the language. So how do you say thank you? It is terima kasih. Okay, terima kasih. Terima means actually accept or receive, and kasih means care or love. So you are receiving or accepting love from somebody else, and that's why you are saying thank you, right? So again, thank you is terima kasih. The natural speed would be terima kasih, and that's with the accent terima kasih, but the slow version would be terima kasih. Okay, number 2 is sorry. And I think again this is very useful when you're making mistake or when you are late, for example, to your office or whatever, to your meeting, and then you need to say sorry. Sorry is maaf. Maaf, maaf. Okay, sorry is maaf. Maaf. And then very simple but very meaningful expression is how do you say yes? Yes is ya. Ya. Okay, so that's how you say yes. It's very simple. It's kind of similar also. Yes is ya, and then no is tidak. 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 Okay, so we have learned how do you say how to say thank you. It is terima kasih, and then sorry, maaf, and then we have also learned about how do we say yes in Bahasa, which is ja, similar to German, I believe, right? Ja. And then also how do we say no in Bahasa, which is tidak. Okay, so those are the useful expressions that we learned today, and also we also have learned di dalam, and di atas for adverb of place. Okay, so it's time now to learn some new vocabulary. So these are the vocabulary that we will learn today, which are noun basically. Number 1 is school, is sekolah. 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 Okay, school is sekolah. And then we have home, which is rumah. 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 Okay, and then we have hospital, which is rumah sakit. Rumah again is home or house, and sakit means sick. Okay, so the house of sick, the house of sickness perhaps. So that's hospital in Bahasa. Rumah sakit. Okay, rumah is house or home, and then sakit is sick or being ill. And then we have park, which is taman. 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 We have toilet, which is the same thing, this toilet. So if you are in emergency at the hospital or in Indonesia or at the airport or anywhere, and you need to go to the toilet, you can just say toilet please, toilet, and people will understand you. Okay, and then a restaurant is also kind of similar. I think this is originated from English and then absorbed into Bahasa. So restaurant is restoran. Restoran. Okay, restoran. 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 And then we have police station, which is kantor. Kantor polisi. I think kantor is a word originated from the Dutch, from the Netherlands language, right? Yeah, because Indonesia has a very long relationship and history with the Netherlands, so that's why we have several Dutch language, right? I'm trying to remember if that's the correct word. So yeah, basically the Dutch language, and then we have policy. So kantor polisi means police station. I hope that when you travel to Indonesia, you will not need to go to kantor polisi or a police station. But if you need to, then that's how you say it. So again, police station is kantor polisi. Okay, so we have learned 7 nouns here. We have learned sekolah, rumah, rumah sakit, taman, toilet, restoran, dan sorry, I just use the and of in Bahasa, which is done. Okay, and then the last one is kantor polisi. So please try to always repeat it after I've said it, or just try to practice it by yourself. I will now say it again so that you can practice it again. So again, sekolah is, or school is, school is sekolah. Then home is rumah, hospital is rumah sakit, park is taman, toilet is the same, toilet, restaurant is restoran, and police station is kantor polisi. Good job. Okay, again, practice it again and again if you are still not comfortable saying it, until you feel comfortable saying it. And if you are already comfortable, now let's create some sample sentences. So you can create and build sample sentences or your own sentences using the grammar that you have learned and the vocabulary. Okay, so we will learn 3 sample sentences today. So kemarin, if you do not know what kemarin means, then it means you have to check out the previous lessons, because we have covered this in the previous lessons. Okay, so kemarin saya memasak di rumah. So you have learned the new words here, which is di rumah, right? So di is at or in, right? So here is at home, obviously. So kemarin is yesterday, saya memasak, I cook at home, right? And hari ini, today, mereka, they, makan, eat di restoran, at restaurant. Today, they eat at restaurant. And then number 3, ya is yes, of course. Dia, she or he will, akan, you also have learned akan. That's the future tense I think in lesson 2 you have learned akan. So dia akan belajar besok di sekolah. She will learn or study, belajar, learn or study tomorrow at school. Okay, so you are of course can create your own sentences based upon the grammar that you have learned in the 3 lessons that you have studied with, and also with the vocabulary that you have mastered and you have learned. So now let's test yourself. Okay, so number 1 is yesterday she wrote blah blah blah, she wrote something at school. How do you say it? 1, 2, 3. Of course, yesterday is kemarin, and she wrote, we have discussed about past tense, present tense, future tense, right, in the lesson 2. So obviously you know that it is dia menulis, and at school is something that we have just learned just now, is di sekolah. Di sekolah. For number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself. If you want, so number 2 is today he watched blah 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 at home. How do you say it in Indonesian? And also number 3 is yes, we will talk at police station. Yes, we will talk at police station. How do you say it in Bahasa? If you are watching this on YouTube, try to make sure to write the answer, your answer, at the comments below, so we can check and we can correct if you are making a mistake. Okay, and if you are listening to this lesson at podcast, you can check out the YouTube, so you can also see the transcript of the words, the grammars, and the vocabulary, the sample sentences that we are using here. Okay, so that's the end. That's the end of our lesson today. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group and Facebook page, and you can also find our podcast on Spotify, and especially you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents if you would like to learn more, and also you will be able to join exclusive Telegram groups if you support us on Patreon. Okay, so I hope this is useful for you. Try to practice your Bahasa, as often as possible with friends, with your family members, or with us. And I will see you again at level 1 lesson 4 very soon. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 4. Last time we have learned some verbs as well as some nouns. We have learned subjects, and we have learned the adverb of time as well as the adverb of place in Bahasa Indonesia. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't listened or watched to those lessons, I really recommend you to do that before you continue with this lesson. Okay, and if you have, now it's the perfect time to improve your Bahasa and continue learning and continue your journey of learning Bahasa Indonesia, okay? So let's start our lesson today by learning grammar. And we will start this lesson by learning how to create negative sentences. So to create negative sentences in Bahasa Indonesia, it is relatively simple because do not, does not, did not, or will not, all of them equal to tidak. Okay, so again, do not, does not, did not, will not, all of them mean tidak in Bahasa. Tidak. Okay, repeat after me. Tidak. Tidak. Okay, so we will use this tidak to say no, and we will create sample sentences, of course, using the new word that we have learned. And as you just learned, this word is very versatile because you can use it to mean do not, does not, did not, and will not. Okay, but before we move on, we will first of all learn 3 useful expressions. I think, again, as I mentioned this over and over again in every lessons that we have, useful expression is something that is important because you will be able to use this expression in your daily, activities. So we will start by learning how to say excuse me in Bahasa. To say excuse me in Bahasa, you simply just need to say permisi. Okay? How do you say it again? Permisi. Permisi. Okay? So that's how you say excuse me. Permisi. And then, how do you say good afternoon? We have learned good morning in the previous lesson. I think it was in lesson number 1. And here we will learn how to say good afternoon, which is selamat sore. You have learned the selamat part in selamat pagi, right? And this is the good afternoon version, which is selamat sore. So afternoon is sore in Bahasa. So again, good afternoon is selamat sore. And then we have good evening, which is selamat malam. Okay, so evening is malam, so selamat malam, or good evening. good evening is selamat malam. Okay, so we have learned 3 useful expressions. Number 1 is permisi or excuse me, and then we have learned selamat sore or good afternoon, and selamat malam or good evening. Okay, so those are the useful expressions that we will cover, and also we will learn how to create sample sentences using the useful expression. Okay, all right, so now let's learn vocabulary first. So we will learn more nouns because previously in lesson number 3 we have learned several nouns, but I think now it is important for you to know more nouns in order to create a more complicated sentence. Okay, so beside learning more nouns, we will also learn how to say or an in Bahasa. It is quite simple because there is no differentiation between or an in Bahasa. So basically, if you want to say or an, you can just say sebuah. Okay, how do you say it again? Sebuah. 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 Okay, so a book is sebuah buku. So obviously, book is buku. It sounds quite similar, right? So again, a book is sebuah buku. A pen is sebuah pen. An apple, an here, but again in Indonesia, you just use the same word, which is sebuah, and then apple, which is apel. Again, relatively similar. sebuah apel. Sebuah apel. That's the normal the normal speed, sebuah apel. A car is sebuah mobil. So car is mobil. Mobil. Okay? And then a TV is sebuah TV. It's the same as in English. TV is TV in Bahasa. And an artist is seorang artis. So now you are learning something else. So for things or stuff, for in animated object, you need to say sebuah. Okay? But for people, if you want to say a person, an artist, an actor, a doctor, you cannot say sebuah, but you need to change that into seorang. Okay? Seorang. So remember that we don't have a or an in Bahasa Indonesia, but we do have different counter, different article for stuff or thing which is sebuah, and for animated object or for person which is seorang. Again, an artist is seorang artis. Artist has the same word, very similar, artist, and then we also have actor, which is actor. Okay, actor. So you cannot say actor, but actor. So again, an actor is seorang aktor. Okay, always try to repeat your new vocabulary over and over again. It is very important so that you can master it and you can use it in your daily life when you are practicing your Bahasa. Okay, so those are the new vocabulary that we have learned today. And now let's create sample sentences. Sample sentence number 1 is kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Now, this is already complicated, of course, and it's quite long. So you need to really make sure that you have mastered the previous lessons that you have learned. Because if you haven't, then this is going to be very, very hard. But if you have followed all the lessons in the previous lesson thoroughly, and you have mastered all of those, these sample sentences are quite easy. So kemarin is, of course, yesterday. Mereka is they. Tidak is a grammar word that we have learned just now, which mean tidak, which mean no, right? Did not here. Menulis is write. Sebuah is and buku is book, and di sekolah is at school. So kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah is yesterday they did not write a book at school. So normal speed would be kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. That's maybe quite fast. Maybe a little bit too fast. So normal again, normal. Kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Okay? So that's our sample sentence number 1, and then sample sentence number 2 is tidak. Hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah. Now you have to differentiate between the first tidak and the second tidak. Okay? Because tidak number 1 here means no, not, do not, did not, will not, does not, or do not, right? You also have learned the first tidak in the previous lessons when we learn about a useful expression. No is tidak, and yes is ya, right? If you haven't, again, go check out the previous lesson. So here tidak means no, hari ini is today, mereka is they, tidak membeli, of course did not again, because this action has happened in the past. Sebuah pen is a pen, di sekolah again at school. So here tidak, hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah, mean no, today they did not buy a pen at school. Okay? Number 3, our last sample sentence is maaf, besok dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah. Again, you have learned this expression, maaf, very useful, which means sorry, of course. Good job for remembering that. And besok is tomorrow, dia, he or she, tidak akan, will not, of course, right? So, tidak akan, this is something rather different. So, for did not, you do not need to add anything. You can just use did. You can just use tidak, and also for do not and does not is the same thing. But for will not, you need to add the extra akan, the extra will that we have covered previously. Akan mean will, so will not is tidak akan, which literally translated into not will, but in Indonesian it is that way. Okay, so will not is tidak akan, not will. Okay, so you know the different way of saying thing, obviously. So again, maaf is sorry. Besok dia tidak akan. Tomorrow he or she will not, or not will in English, but in Indonesian not will, right? Tidak akan menonton, watch TV at home. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear by now. Now let's test yourself. I think it's very important now to test yourself. Number one is, how do you say tidak? Yesterday she did not see an artist at school. Number one is tidak is of course no, and then yesterday, kemarin, she did not see an artist at school. Dia tidak melihat seorang artis di sekolah. Okay, so for number 2 and number 3, try to test yourself and answer the 2 questions and write down the questions. Write down the answer, your answer in the comment section below if you are watching this lesson on YouTube, and if you are not watching this on YouTube. For example, if you are listening to this on Spotify or something, then go ahead, find it on YouTube. The channel is the same, Bahasa Little Project, so you can see the question here, and you can also participate in answering the question, and we will check your answer, and we will give you some correction if your answer is actually incorrect. Okay, so that's for our lesson number 4. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa also by joining our Facebook page. You can find our podcast on Spotify if you haven't already. And the last one, this is quite important. Support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and exclusive Telegram group. Okay, so I hope this lesson is useful for you. Remember to always practice your Bahasa out there and use it with friends, with your new friend, with your new boyfriend or girlfriend from Indonesia, so that you will soon master the language. Okay, so my name is Alit, and that's the end of our lesson number 4. We will see you again at level 1, lesson 5. Bye! Welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level